Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today we're talking Bad Vegan, the final part 4. Lots to say about this one, so let's buckle up and dive into this. And man, I can't wait to read your comments because I really want to know what you guys thought of all this. So, as I always say, this is the 4th part. I've seen it all now. I'm going to talk about it all. If you don't want to know what happens, time to turn me off. Go watch the actual series on Netflix. Come back. We'll talk about it afterwards. But you guys, what did you think? I thought it was fantastic. I enjoyed every part of this. Sometimes I feel like they drag these things out. This one was not that. I was like riveted the whole time. In fact, I wish there was one more episode where they would kind of catch us up what's happened since this documentary came out. Okay, before we get into all this, I got to give a quick plug for my Patreon. Lots of fun stuff going on over there. Check that out, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Going over the original Sex and the City series as well as Always Sunny. So if you're into that kind of thing, check us out. We're having a lot of fun over there. All right, let's dive into Bad Vegan. Okay, so we left off in spring of 2015. Now, I have to tell you guys something crazy. I'm in Florida, but I have spent quite a bit of time in Tennessee in my life. We have family there. It's just a place we like to go. I love Dollywood. I love Dolly Parton. It's a thing about me. I am very familiar with, it's actually pronounced Sevierville. That's how I believe the locals pronounce it. It looks like it should be Seaverville, but it's Sevierville. And bonus, as a wrestling fan, you should know that Kane, if you're into wrestling, one of the wrestlers, is actually mayor of Sevierville. So, I'm very familiar with the area where they ended up. I remember hearing about it on the news, again, the pizza thing, which we'll talk about. But honestly, it's like I remember that part of it, but I don't remember anything else about it. So, interesting, though. Interesting that they ended up there, and that I'm very familiar with the area, so we'll talk about that. In fact, been in the Chipotle she went into. I don't remember who helped us, but my husband's super into Chipotle. I know we went into that one on one of our 10,000 trips to Dollywood. Okay, back to Sarma. What are your thoughts on this, guys? We've seen it all. I say this every time. I've got to put this here. I don't want to victim blame. I don't. Last episode really got into why I think she's involved this time, because again, I never watch ahead. I never read ahead. I like to be surprised. So I didn't know what was going to happen. And I found myself thinking, oh shit, maybe she is brainwashed because of all the things that were going on. Just the fact that she couldn't leave her hotel room. She'd basically given up almost her will to live, or her will to go on, her will to fight. I don't know what it was. Very odd, right? Until the end. Holy crap. We're going to talk about that, believe me. But leading up until there, I'm really curious what your thoughts are. I know I ask this every episode, and I read all the comments. So do we think that she was involved or not? That's the $1 million question. I think her restaurant worker summed it up so well, because he said something like, I don't think it was her decision to do this, but she definitely played a role and didn't really do anything to stop it. And that's exactly how I feel. She talked openly about having thoughts of driving off and leaving him at the gas station, but she didn't do it. There's times where they ask her questions and she gives convenient I don't knows. She gave the police a wrong name. There's still parts of me that think, okay, she had the wherewithal to do things like that. I wonder if she's in on it, So the part that wasn't clear to me, and I know I'm jumping around, I'm sorry, we will talk about all this, but so they talk clearly about how much money she owes and all the debts and stuff. Did I miss it? Did they not? I have a bad cold right now. I'm on cold medicine, so I'm in and out of consciousness. But did they talk about how much does he owe? I know he got a longer sentence / higher bail than she did, but it was more focused on the amount that she owes. All right, let's back up. Let's talk about all this. So, I don't know. I'm struggling with all this. I still can't believe that she was this stupid. And I know it's cruel to call somebody like this stupid, but it was stupid. She made a lot of stupid choices, I'll say. And I just have trouble believing that she didn't have some ideas what was going on. It struck me very odd that she talked openly about him having a gamble. It was weird. She danced around it, actually. She talked about him. They kind of dropped that bomb of the casino thing, in like the second episode, maybe I think it was the second episode, because I kept saying, where the hell was he all the time? So she put it together that it was this gambling thing because she was figuring out, oh shit, we just spent 10 months in Las Vegas. Hello. And she even said because I thought, oh, maybe she's in on that. Maybe she's gambling too. But she said she didn't like it. She tried poker, wasn't her thing, didn't work out. So she hates gambling, but yet she's giving all her money to somebody who now she knows is a gambling addict. She never answered the question that I want to know, which was, okay, when you figured out he's actually a gambling addict, did it ever click that, oh, hey, he's lying about everything else? He's not, what did he say, Special Forces, Black Ops, whatever the hell he was telling her he was. He's not that. He's not CIA. Like, she never directly answered that question, and that kind of bothered me. That's the part I really wanted to hear was, let's go with that she was brainwashed. Okay. So she fully believed whatever he was feeding her at the time. If that's what she's going with, and that in theory now she's come out of it, what does she think, or that she was coming out of it, what did she think he was doing? That's my $1 million question. You know what I mean? I know I'm jumping ahead, but the ending slapped me so hard across the face. I did not expect that. And I know they did that on purpose. It was like they were making us feel sorry for her. And then it's like, oh yeah, but by the way, she's also been talking to him. So I find it also fascinating. So jumping ahead, I Googled it and I researched the hell out of this because I've been so fascinating and I'm still researching it because I still don't understand. She has come out and said that, no, I don't like how they painted the end of this Netflix thing. We are not still in contact. We divorced in, I believe it was 2018. That was that. So I want to know, well then, where did the recording come from? How did they get that recording? Did she give it up? Did he give it up? Where did that come from? Hey, there's Dollywood, by the way. Love Dollywood. I could talk. I should do a video on Dollywood. I love that place. But if you guys are interested in that, let me know because I'm sure one of the trips we go up there, I could talk to you about Dollywood. But okay, I'm sorry. It's just so funny to see this on. I'm sitting here watching the video back, but it's funny to see all the mountains and all the landmarks where we've been. We've stayed at some of those hotels. We've been all around there. But okay, I digress. God, I'm just like. Oh, okay. So now she's currently disputing the end, saying, no, we're not in contact. So I want to know who gave up the tape. Somebody had to. I thought maybe they caught her on a hot mic, but we had his side of the conversation too. So who gave that up? The other interesting thing I found out since this documentary came out is that, that whole Teresa Giudice of it all, you can't make money on the crime. So technically she couldn't make money on the crime, but she did make money off this documentary and it had to bypass her completely. So what happened was they used what she would have made from it and paid the restaurant workers their back pay. So that was good. And they also went to pay her attorney's fees. So that's how she got compensated for this. I have about 1 million questions about everything. I did look up Leon is still alive. That's good. I guess he was sick for a little bit, but he ended up fine. He's good. They still live in New York. She's vague about what she does now. But it sounds like she's working on more projects, maybe a podcast, something like that about what all happened here. I really want to, he's a monster. I have no question about. I may flip-flop on her. I don't flip-flop on him. Regardless, he is an evil person who I still struggle to say, did he take advantage? Yes, in some ways he did. There were things broached in this episode that really bothered me that I just don't want to discuss here, but it involves a specific form of abuse. So truly fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that guy a million times over. Fuck, you know. Okay, so I'm going to jump past that. But I don't know. I'd like to hear, not his side. That's not what I mean. I want to hear, like, his police interviews. What could he have possibly said, you know, that he was doing, that he was justifying? I had trouble with her with this police stuff, too, because she said that she said at one point during this interview that she didn't realize that running away was wrong, or that it was, what is she, like, not legal? That it would come to this. I don't know. She made it seem like she thought she was just running away from her problems. What's wrong with that? Versus you have an actual business and people depend on you. You abandon them, stop paying them. What could be wrong there? You know, you basically allegedly defrauded investors, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, you can get in all kinds of trouble clearly from that. But, man, it broke my heart with the mom stuff. I understand why mom wouldn't want to be on camera, but I wish we could have heard from her a little bit and heard, you know, what she thought of it all. You know, it was easy for Sarma to spin it as, hey, we both got duped by this guy, and maybe that is what happened. But I just wonder, was she involved in the duping too? You know, did she tell him what to say to her mom to get the money? Did she talk to mom too? I would like to know all that information. But kind of startling at the end when we find out, what was it, 6 million total, I think. Well, we kept hearing 1.6 million, but then she brings up 6 million total. She says it's actually 6.14 million. She's like, what's the difference of that and 60 million? Like, it's all so big. She's not in a position to ask for anyone for anything as far as investing goes. Okay. I have to flip and say there were a couple people in this documentary that I absolutely loved. I love that dog. I love that guy. I know it's confusing because his name is also Anthony. The guy that was willing to drop everything and drive to Tennessee to go get her dog. I love the reporter. I found him kind of refreshing. I thought he was drinking Sarma's Kool-Aid, and he might be a little bit, but toward the end, it was interesting to hear him say even he got played by Shane and giving him money on his whatever it is, the prison bank account thing. He gave him $100 for, I don't know, phone calls or whatever. It's just so interesting. I think it's interesting that the ex-wife wrote a letter on behalf of Sarma. I thought that was very telling, that Anthony is a monster. Hearing the story that Anthony and his dad, I want to hear more about his dad, by the way. Anthony and his dad broke into the ex-wife's house, stole and pawned everything, and left her with a newborn or whatever infant to care for, and nothing else. I mean, just terrible scum of the earth, right? So, apple doesn't fall far from that tree, but I don't know. And then it was interesting that she fought harder against the pizza/vegan of it all than the stealing. That's where I love that restaurant coworker again, because she was like, it wasn't for me. And even the police officer was saying, I don't believe that she was eating the pizza. I believe it was for Anthony. But the coworker summed up what I was screaming at my TV, which was, who gives a shit about the pizza? You know, you're allowed to change dietary preferences. That's up to you, but who gives a shit about that? There's whatever. At the time, I thought it was like $2 million missing. You gambled it away. How are you going to worry about a friggin' pizza? It just doesn't make any sense at all. But I thought that was a funny moment. They did make a big deal about it. They kept calling her the vegan Bertie Madoff. And one of the articles said, someone get this girl a cheeseburger. So, also interesting, she got bailed out. It sounded like her family helped get her out. She was out on a $400,000 bond. His bond was set at $450,000. He was never let out. He sat in Rikers for a year. He pled guilty. So it sucks because he then got credit for time served. He had to do a little bit extra. That was it. What about all his priors? It sounded like he had some prior. Anyway, that's a whole nother issue. But I find that fascinating that he didn't get more time, and it sucks. And the reporter, nailed it. Like, we can't stamp something on his forehead that says, "Watch out for this guy," because I really want to know what he's up to now. P.S. When they said he looks like the Hamburglar in this mugshot, I could not stop laughing. Oh, the other thing, this is so weird. The other thing that popped in my head, and I meant to Google it and I forgot, but I know in North Carolina, it's Western North Carolina, close to the Tennessee border, there's a pretty big casino. It's Harrah's. I don't know that they gamble right there in Tennessee, and I don't know that they would near Dollywood right there. So I'm just surprised that they ended up there. I think it's kind of funny that they ended up in that location. I don't know. That just struck me kind of weird. It's like, I don't know, mini Vegas there, but not for gambling, more for like, well, you saw it on TV. It's like medieval times and shit, like tourist trap, like Myrtle Beach. It's like a tourist trap kind of thing. But back to her. I don't know. It's interesting because the restaurant people, some of them did feel sorry for her. But then again, I like that they were saying, part feels like she was a victim, but she's also responsible for bad decision making. That's kind of that's the camp I'm in. I do believe that he was a terrible person and, would mislead her in certain ways. But then, we got to talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears to it. At the very end, we get that 2019 call with Anthony, and they're kind of flirty on it. Like, talking about how they miss each other, or he's saying he misses her, and she's not like, shut the fuck up. And they talk about the meat suit and appear on a unicorn. I mean, just all the bullshit that he's been feeding her. And they're both laughing, and he says, "I'm glad I can still make you laugh." So they're obviously still in contact. He has her number. He says, "I love you," and he says, "You're the smartest person I've ever met and the most beautiful." She says he's right, which I was like, holy fuck. It just made me feel, I don't know, I'm sure it was a ploy, at the end there, but I'm gonna fall right into that trap and say she was involved. She's eating this shit up, or she's still drinking the Kool-Aid, or maybe both. But it was interesting, because I said this before, which was, even her dad said, maybe she was trying to pull a con on him at first, thinking that he had the money to bail out her restaurant, or to help it out, whatever, get out from under Jeffrey, whatever it was, pay off the debts that she owed. She thought she had found her meal ticket there, but it turns out he completely swindled her. But where I have trouble is he didn't, this is again arguing semantics, but he didn't swindle her she was willingly wiring him the money. So, I mean, I know that's the that's the $6 million question, because she was willingly wiring him the money. It's like the Tinder swindler all over again, where you don't want to blame the victim, but then at some point you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And she went to Wharton. I keep thinking about that. She went to Wharton Business School. She'd studied at UPenn. Like, sounds like she was pretty, she's running two very successful businesses. She changed careers and ended up doing culinary school. So she's obviously smart. She's able to do all these things. I keep going back to, she addressed and said she never took drugs, but that's where my mind goes, is like, was she allegedly, maybe, possibly hopped up on something? That would make more sense. I don't understand this at all. The other thing I didn't understand was this part right here. They did an interview with her before she went away to Rikers for, I think it was 3.5 months. And they even asked her, like, why did you do that? Why did you put that on film? And she couldn't really have a clear answer to that. So that leads me back to, is it all bullshit? Did she, at the beginning, she pretended like she didn't want the fame and notoriety of the businesses, but then she was always so social at her businesses and on magazine covers and stuff. And maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know. It's just so fascinating to me. Interesting story. I love the documentary. So glad I watched it. But yeah, this is where I want to know your comments. I want to know, are we on the same page? Am I crazy here? Like, do you feel like she's involved? Do you feel like she was the victim? Do you feel it? I mean, what's happening here? What's going on? A lot of comparisons to Patty Hearst. I find that interesting. I kept thinking about, I just find like cults fascinating. So I was thinking about it. What if it was like a cult like situation? But then I don't understand the phone call at the end. It just kind of, to me, nixed that a little bit. It kind of made that seem less credible because it wasn't like she woke up and wanted to get away. It's like, well, I'm working on paying this off, but I'm still going to be in contact with him. So it's very weird. But okay, I think I'm going to let it go here. Really want to know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hey, if you have a documentary like this that you're interested in, let me know in the comments. So I'm not into like murdery stuff. The world's too dark. I don't want to watch all that. But like these swindly things, I find fascinating. So if you have anything like that, do let me know in the comments and I will check it out. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for sticking with me on this. And I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.